YouTube, we are in the top 16 of the Meta Weekly every single week. Bro, this is with the new ban list being applied, where Branded Despia took a huge hit, not really, of Serenir going from 3 to 1, which lowered the consistency of getting Retribution and Branded Fusion in the grave to then add it to the hand. So one of the main ways to add that Branded Fusion has now been reduced, but the deck is still in the top 16 doing well. Let's see if it wins the tournament again, which it's been winning the last 2 tournaments in a row. Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Opening up with our Fusion deployment, we have no hand traps whatsoever to stop the onslaught of Branded. Nadir Servant is going to be locking them out of using their extra deck, searching for the Quem on normal summon, sending an Albaz from the deck to the grave. Now with the Albaz, we could use the Quem to reborn the Albaz to fuse with the opponent's field if they summon a monster from the extra deck that will trigger the Quem. Very well done. We're going to be adding that Branded Fusion to be used next turn. We also have Cartesia, which could fuse with our field, which may turn into some disruption here. But we're going to be mostly reliant on the opponent triggering the Quem. So what you should do is not trigger the Quem, just destroy it by battle. Don't use the extra deck, and you're good. You do lose your battle phase, though. We are going to chain Cartesia, which is going to force our Quem to be off the field. Thus, it's not going to be forcing them to use the battle phase. This is interesting. Chaining Maxi to the Cartesia fusion effect. We have Gangrenol. Gangrenol gets triggered if a monster activates their effect to summon a monster onto the field. We have Reinhardt, which is going to be searching our deck. We have Gangrenol, which is going to be triggering to not only send from the deck, but also summon a monster from the deck, which could be Quem or Coritis. We got Coritis, which could reduce the opponent's field to 0 attack. As we send a Rinbrum. Rinbrum is going to be able to reborn the Albaz from the graveyard to get fusing with the opponent's field, but the Call by the Grave is going to finger negate the Albaz. In a way, maxing on your own turn against Branded could be better than maxing on their turn, because they're doing a ton of special summoning on their turn. They attempted to. It was Cartesia into the Coritis, into Albaz Summon, into Albaz Fuse. That's possibly 4 cards you could draw on your very own turn that Branded summoning on your turn with. We have the Rival reborning the right card, Shokan into our Excel Stardust Synchro. Reborning a level 2 from the grave, now making our Dissipator. Dissipator could summon a banished monster back in the field. We're banishing 2 from the grave to make our Astra Loud, which is going to be triggering the Coritis, but we're going to negate the Coritis as it's attempting to summon a monster from the deck. This could summon an Albaz to fuse with their fields. But the Albaz is banished and negated by the Call by the Grave Finger, so a newly summoned Albaz would also be negated here, as we're scooping this up. That Called by and Maxi, too good. Thus, and also the Branded Despia player not opening that well could have opened up a little bit better if they had a Serenir in their hand, so I guess that's the effect of Serenir being limited to 1. Albion sending from the deck our Albaz. We're now going to be special summoning our Cartesia, being met with the Maxi as the Ash negates that Maxi. I do not think so. Okay. A little confusing for me, but that's okay. We could Albaz summon from the grave with Rinbrum or with the Quem, which could fuse with the opponent's field to trigger the Lost. I guess that's going to be our fusion play. Instead, we have Retribution instead of Banishment. Banishment would have been the main way to trigger the Lost. What it's going to do instead is negate an effect to special summon. So if they activate Reinhardt to summon itself from the hand, we could just negate it. Maybe that's what we're going to do. We have Mirror Jade for non-target monster banish also. Searching for the right cards. Draw and Lockbird to keep them in check. That's it. Didn't even scoop to the field. The non-target monster banished, the negate a special summon. That's great and all, but Draw and Lockbird completely shuts us down. Limited to 1 Serenir in today's event. Opening up with it. We have Reinhardt searching for the ball. This is a 1-card wombo combo. We have full disruption, full main play, but the Serenir is going to be banishing the Meek from being reborn from the graveyard with the Trisukta. Thus, the 1-card combo has been disrupted. Wait. Meek's a water. can't banish water. Oops. We banished the wrong card because we couldn't banish the water, so the 1-card combo is not disrupted. The balls are not light or dark. Let's go. Amratira. Now, the Serenir banishing the Reinhardt, does that do anything beneficial? Kind of. The Vsauce would be banished with it to summon a Vicious Astrolaud, but we're searching for a right card anyway, which is going to replace that play. So it actually did not do anything. And we would want to hold the Serenir for the arrival. And we have the Apollo USA or our Quadra Monster Negate. The Dissipator did reborn the Vsauce here. We have Negate, 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 5 negates through Baron to Floor and the Apollo USA. The Dissipator at the moment is not a negate unless the opponent banishes a card from their own field, hand, or grave. Let's go, let's go. Serenir was not dealt with. Albion sending a Retribution from the deck to the grave to then draw a card. Alubur on summon going to be negated by the Apollo USA, stopping the ad from the deck. The issue here is Apollo has now dropped down to 2400 attack, making the Serenir, giving it the ability to just swing over it, getting rid of its additional 3 negates. Do we go to the battle phase? First, we're going to use the Nadir Servant, which will be negated by the Baron to Floor. The effect of not being able to use your extra deck is also negated here. So we are able to do it, and we're going into Anaconda, which could be negated by the Apollo USA. Serenir attempting to send a card from the deck to the graveyard being negated by the Apollo. What, should we have attacked first? What's going on here? Anaconda. Oh, geez. Activating to beta negate, but then you fell for the Dissipator mate to get destroyed. Thus, you can't activate the effect to send a fusion card from your deck to the grave, and you lose your Anaconda. Be gone. Just summoning Anaconda turns off Branded Fusion for the rest of the turn, if you were to have it. Huh. That's something. That's something. That was something. If you activate Anaconda to send Branded Fusion, you chain Dissipator to pop the Anaconda. The Branded Fusion then can't summon a Mirror Jade because we needed Anaconda on the field. You can't summon Lubellion or Albion to then activate to fuse again because your summon is the final fusion summon, your final play. So they were screwed anyways, what I'm trying to get at here, that wasn't as big of a misplay as we think it was. Called by the Grave, banishing the Vsauce. I mean, like, they definitely were losing, even if we didn't do that. If we main phase 2'd it, yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. Baron to Floor get poppin'. We are max seeing. Ash is going to be negating, not even using our Apollo USA. That's right, yeah. Dissipator, destroy the Anaconda, stopping the Mirror Jade summon. And let's get to it. Reborning our banished Vsauce onto the field. Over 8,000 damage, now 11,000 damage on the field. Searching for our right card. Summoning that right card onto the field for over 12,000 damage. Post Banlist branded, losing to Mannadium. Is this a way to sell the new decks? Maybe. First, they axed Dragon Link, forcing you to buy Super Heavy Samurai and Mannadium. Not enough of you apparently bought those decks, as they're now trying to do the same to Branded Despia, but not really, though. The Serenir just going to 1, it was not that big of a deal. Special summoning the Terratop, which will be searching for the Speedroid Take Tomborg, which could have been ashed. So we're waiting on the Ash. When do we Ash? Can't Ash this. This is sending by a cost. This is when we could Ash the limited to 1 Water Enchantress, holding on to that Ash for this play. Negate. Very well done. That was the way. We now have a Griffin Rider that's dead. And because Max C exists, we didn't want to shotgun the Griffin Rider to summon it early. Despite being ashed on our Water Enchantress play, we have non-target destroy. We have Negate, negate, negate. 3 monster effects. That's 4 disruptions, not counting the Ash. We also have another disruption hidden in the graveyard. If we could reborn the Breaksword with one of the Fog Blades being sent to the graveyard to where the Rusty's pointing to, it will be able to pop a card in the field for our 5th disruption. Now, right away in the draw phase, we're going to Super Polymerization fusing with the field, getting rid of that DPE. Discarding Retribution, goodbye DPE, and Rusty making a Garura. Thus, we now just have 3 disruption through triple Fog Blade. Cartesia activating to fuse, Fog Blade number 1, negate. We have plenty more Fog Blades where that came from. With 2 more disruptions left, to battle we go. Wiping out the Anaconda, we're not going to protect it with the Fog Blade. Linking this off into our own Anaconda. Banned in TCG, by the way. Garura being sent to the graveyard, activating to draw a card. Anaconda sending the Branded Fusion as a cost, as the Fog Blade now negates the ability of copying the effect of the Branded Fusion. And we have duplication for some reason, just randomly in our hand, which is going to be copying the effect of the Branded Fusion. We are special summoning our Griffin Rider, which has no disruption here. We're going to use the Fog Blade Banish to summon the Rusty. A good reason to do this is because the Fog Blade, it's a hard once per turn of being able to summon a monster from the grave, and we have multiple Fog Blades, so just do it right now. Triggering the Scales, also hard once per turn of summoning itself from the graveyard. So go through the hard once per turns during your opponent's turn if possible. Rusty send from the deck a Cloak, setting up a Shade, which is only activatable if we have no traps in the grave. Cloak banishing to search our deck for a Boots, which will special summon onto the field here. We're waiting for when they're going to use the duplication. Now, summoning to where the Rusty's pointing to, is this a non-target destroy? It's a target destroy. So when it activates to destroy the duplication, that's when we're going to be using the Branded Fusion effect. But they have an Ash. But you can't Ash Branded Fusion if you're copying the effect of Branded Fusion. Huh? Let's go. Copy the effect, but we could Max C. Max C instead, which could be quite detrimental to Branded here. We may want to be summoning more than once against that Max C. We're just going to go straight for Mirror Jade due to having the Anaconda on the field. Mirror Jade is going to be the non-target monster banish play here, using the effect of Breaksword to pop the Mirror Jade, but with Mercurier in the hand, we have an additional disruption, so negate the effect, plus non-target monster banish. I think we also have a Rinbrum play, yes. We could send Rinbrum to banish, to then use Rinbrum to reborn the Albaz to fuse at the opponent's field. But, you know, we are under Max C. So that would be draw 2. We're just going to allow that to happen. We could have chained Mirror Jade to banish the Dark, stopping it from reborning our own Albaz to their side of the field. Do we have another Albaz, though? We do not. I do think Max C is restricting us a bit here. The Mirror Jade would then force them to use the Fog Blade on it to negate, but then we'd go into the Rinbrum play. What are we doing? What is going on? Mirror Jade, send Rinbrum. So what's interesting here is with the Dark targeting the Albaz to summon onto your field, you would Chainlink 2 Mirror Jade to banish it. You would Chainlink 3 Fog Blade to negate it. You would Chainlink 4, that's right, the Rinbrum could activate on Chainlink 4 to then reborn the Albaz to fuse with their field, which I thought maybe we'd be doing, which we can't do. All right, negate. As we now get spun back in the deck, because we're spun to a private knowledge area, we don't trigger to activate the effect of wiping out the field during the end phase. No trigger. And we scoop it up. Do we blame Max C for this? Did we not set up the Mirror Jade Rinbrum Albaz play because of Max C? I'm blaming Max C. I'm going to keep on saying this. Max C, on your own turn, is showing to be more beneficial against Branded than Maxing on their turn. Albion sending from the deck to the graveyard a Retribution to draw a card as we then chain our Branded and High Spirits to also send the Albion to the graveyard. Does it still draw? I think it has to return to draw. No, it still draws. Ain't no way. So you send and then you apply the effect. If it was sent from the deck, place this card in the bottom of the deck, then you could play. Okay, you don't draw. You actually don't draw. We're adding with the Branded High Spirits. So we gave up the draw 1 to add. And, you know, instead of losing another card from our hand with the Branded High Spirits, all right, Quem sending from the deck to the graveyard a branded fusion, as the Retribution will now be adding it in the graveyard back to our hand. And that's what we've saved our Ash for. Multiple effects we could have ashed. This is the moment. You need Ash discipline. Do not let the opponent eat your Ash. It is for branded fusion. Effect negated, so even if we recycle it, it will not be usable. Come forth and summon Alubur. Alubur searching for branded in white. We're going to be fusing with our field here, making our Gangrenol. Gangrenol send an extra deck or deck monster to the graveyard. Quem triggered to reborn the Cartesia. Now, Quem, Cartesia, and Mirror Jade is a cool combo as you fuse with Mirror Jade, then reborn the Mirror Jade with Quem. That's kind of what we have the setup here for. We have our randomly drawn Lubellion off the Garura being sent to the graveyard. Mekknight banishing from the grave to come forth and summon. Activating to search for a dragon during the end phase, tributing for our Lubellion. The big question here is with Serenir being limited to 1, do branded players play more Lubellion? Or, I guess Mekknight is the additional Bestial we're now playing. Setting up into the back row our branded Lost. Activating our Brandon White, banishing from the graveyard our Albion Shrouded Dragon because it's considered to be an Albaz. And just like that, triggering the Lost to grab a Mercurier monster, negate. We have a ton of disruption here. Titanclad also adding an Albaz from the deck. Also adding a Baldrake. We're going to talk about disruption right now. So Mirror Jade is non-target monster banish. Cartesia could go into a Dragostapelia for a monster negate. Quem could then reborn the Mirror Jade used for the Dragostapelia to then monster banish again. We could then use Mercurier to monster negate. We probably can use a Rinbrum to reborn an Albaz if we have a way to get this into the graveyard, so that's a maybe. And, you know, we got about 4 to 5 disruptions. Let's go. We're going to shotgun our Griffin Rider onto the field here, using our Mirror Jade to send Rinbrum to banish the Cloak. Using triple Tactics talent to draw 2, not take control. Scooping before we even start popping off. All right, you know, we had go into the Dragostapelia, reborn the Mirror Jade, as you were saying, then banish again. Very well done from both players. Let's go. Let's get to it. Yeah, Konami, nice try. Nice try. I know what you're doing. Begin. What? Huh? The heck was that? The Take Tomborg requires you to have a wind monster in order to special summon it. So when you open it, it's not so good. We had oh boy, Ash not wind, Denier not doing anything. We have double Ash. We have Crossout Designate to negate the Ash. Ash will then also make the Thrust activatable. Well, let's go. Alubur activates, searching for our Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion gets negated by the Ash as the Crossout Designate negates the negate. Richmond has been sent back to Pal World. We have Lear Lusk popping off, Swallow summoning the Cobalt, Cobalt searching for the Celestine, that is. We have Tri-Brigade Fairjet special summoning a monster from our hand. The Celestine's going to be grabbing the Bird Call. Bird Call could add a Lear Lust, then summon a different one from your hand. As we now make our Samorg. Samorg banned in the TCG because it sets up an Omni Negate during the end phase, also making every monster it's pointing to that's a winged beast untargetable. We're going to grab the Canary. Canary can reborn a monster from the graveyard, then lock yourself into Xyz only. So we have Nerval summoning an Ancient Warrior Double Dragon, which could send a card in the field back to the hand before we're locked into Xyz only, as the DD Crow banishes the Sapphire Swallow, stopping the big Canary play. Doesn't really stop it though. Let's read Canary. You target a Lear Lusk, summon both this card and that monster, so it's actually not going to summon itself. Also, you're still locked into Xyz only. So we're locked into Xyz summoning, and we don't get to summon the Canary. So DD Crow was great. Very well done. Because we could have then exceeded with the Nerval if it would have summoned. So we have Negate and sent a card back, but we just ripped the Super Poly off the top of our deck. The whole field is wind, so very easily we could just fuse up the field if we're playing Moo Dragon, which we do got room. We got the room for it. We could fuse into probably whatever we want. Super Polymerization, discarding the Borger, fusing away into a Moo Dragon. Now, Branded Despia players, a lot of them don't have room for the Moo Dragon. They're mostly playing the Garura. Unicorn is activating the search. Droplet is sending the Nerval to negate. Now, I guess what you would do is you would maybe this is non-target negate, but with Mood Dragon, you could declare wind, and then wind monsters could not be targeted by something like an impermanence. But then you would just chain it to the Mood Dragon anyway. All right, Nerval being sent to the graveyard, searching for a fractal to be used on the follow-up. Tribute summoning for Borger to then reborn our Unicorn from the graveyard, being met with a Maxi. Draw one for that special summon. We are big enough to take out the Simorgh by battle. Looking at the extra deck, banishing a Shiraeg Omen, which is probably their only copy. Yes, no more Shiraeg Omens. As we then main phase 2 it up into our Shangri. I guess this will summon a Fenrir from the deck. Yep. Fenrir from the deck is here. After a monster effect is activated, we'll be able to banish. So reborn from the graveyard, which will then trigger the Fenrir, which we are choosing to not activate. We're waiting. Making a Recital Starling, which will detach the search, which could trigger the Fenrir. But again, we are activating it this time. Banishing the Recital off the field, triggering Shangri to start locking up zones. Locking up that zone, I would say, was a very good idea. It could be messing up some Link summon plays here that would want to be pointing to that area. We have Cobalt Sparrow activating to search our deck, but the Birth is being triggered to banish 3 cards in the opponent's graveyard face down, grabbing that DD Crow. Shangri again, further locking up the Link arrows. We have Nightingale, which could go into a Zeus to wipe up the entire field after attacking directly. Double attack, that is. It's also untargetable. Downward Magician into the Zeus. Did we screw up by not banishing Zeus? We banished the Shiraeg Omen instead. I don't know. You tell me. Wipe it up. And then we have Nerval being sent to the graveyard, activating to grab a Karass. Karass could discard a card to summon itself from the hand. Canary locking ourselves into Xyz, summoning from the extra deck only. As we now make our Ensemble Robin, which could return a special summon monster back to the hand. But the thing with Kashtira is it could be summoned again. So we would summon, return back, summon, and then we're good. With a full hand, we are ready to just finish up this duel. Summoning our H-Rays Velgler to the field here, putting us over 8,000 damage to the field. Taking this into game 2. We have Pressure Planet grabbing our Rise Heart, special summoning our Unicorn. We just have DD Crow, which could be used against the Birth. Now, Birth doesn't target, so it's only going to be good against Birth if there's only one Kashtira in the grave to reborn. But the Birth summoning a banished Kashtira, the DD Crow will not be able to affect. Wait, that actually doesn't work. You activate Birth to summon your Kashtira in the grave. You chain DD Crow, banish it. I then summon the banished one that I was going to summon anyway. So DD Crow does nothing. Come forth. We got Fenrir searching our Unicorn here. Okay, we already used up our normal summon. We are going straight into the Arise Heart. Any card sent to the graveyard is banished. Can we even activate the Fractal? You could send this card from your hand to the graveyard to activate its effect, so it's an illegal activation. We could Droplet, right? No, you can't even Droplet. The cost of Droplet is to send cards to the graveyard as a cost, which you can't do with the Rise Heart. So, can't Droplet, can't Fractal. Can we DD Crow? Can't DD Crow. We can't trigger the kit. This is not looking good. Bird Call, though, can get us into a situation where we could set up a Zeus, is what I'm thinking. The Arise Heart will have to banish early. You have Turquoise summoning the Cobalt. If we allow the Cobalt to Exceed, the Exceed will be untargetable due to the Cobalt's effect. So I think we got to do something right now. Right? We have to. We didn't do anything. Sparrow summoning itself plus a DD Crow. We have Nightingale. Untargetable Nightingale, thanks to the Sparrow. Attack directly, make our Zeus, and we're good. But in the battle phase, we have non-targeting Super Poly, which doesn't say send a card to the graveyard to activate. It just says discard a card. Maxi must be sent to the graveyard to activate, so we can't Maxi. We are further going into a Farigit here. Now, okay, we're just triggering the effect to suck up a banished card. It's a mandatory effect. To battle we go. Using the Dust... Wait. We played around Super Poly by summoning 2 non-win monsters on the fields. But then we used Dust Devil for non-target Book of Moon. The untargetable Nightingale, which would have attacked directly to make Zeus, is now flipped face down due to the Dust Devil after we played around Arise Heart and played around Super Poly, but we couldn't also play around the Dust freaking Devil. Damn. Rise Heart being triggered. We still have the effect to banish a card in the field face down. It was a good effort. That was good. We tried. We played that absolutely correctly, playing around that Super Poly and the Arise Heart, but yeah, non-target Book of Moon. Oh my gosh. What the hell is that? We got both DD Crows are activatable, Max C at least with no way to stop the Max C, Dead Apex Avian, which we're supposed to summon from the deck. Huh. Shotgun that Max C in the draw phase. Playing around a triple tactics talent at least. Unicorn gets Searchin', Ash negates. So we got the Pot of D activatable, also the Theosis. And Stake Your Soul even. We got a lot of cards that were ashable. Is Ashing Unicorn correct? Stake Your Soul, reveal a dark, summon a dark from the deck, which will be our Borger. Borger, reveal a dark, draw a card here. We do want to be careful under Max C. We have 5,000 damage so far. Now up to 74, 8,600 damage with no way to block an attack. We could just go to the battle phase. Should we be special summoning even more? Well, another monster that can attack while in defense here. Sure, why not? Did we like play into Nibiru? Yeah, it was just like, it's kind of BM. We had game around Nibiru, but then we played into Nibiru and, you know, they didn't have Nibiru. Runick is not dead. Cause, are you out of your mind? Limited to one field spell, and we're still doing it. Off the top of the deck, the Piercer, where if this card would have been limited to one, that would have been quite devastating, but then would have been less likely to be banished. You have Huggin, which can no longer chain link block your Fountain as it has nothing to search. And what did we end on? We are playing Naturia. This is quite interesting. We do have the quick effect of the Flash Fire to pop a special summon monster, which ideally it will be used against the Scarecrow in response to its activation, but they will likely have a Baron to floor to protect it from that. That will also trigger the field spell to then draw one card, maybe drawing into more hand traps. We have Droll, Maxi, Ash, a ton of cards that will absolutely decimate this matchup. Ash not so much, but the Maxi and Droll. The Droll does counter your Maxi, but both independently are very good against Super Heavy Samurai. We got the Wakashi. We are completely disrespecting Gamma. We do not care about Gamma. We're protected from Gamma if we hold on to Ash, by the way. Come forth and summon, and we're not going to even wait. We're popping the Wakashi right then and there. Why pop it early? Well, the Benki can't search for a card to then normal summon, which would be the Piercer, unless you control a Super Heavy Samurai. So I guess we normal summon Peacemaker, search for a Piercer, equip Piercer, then link off into the Scarecrow. I think that's the line. But then we're going to get drolled. Right? Droll. No, we didn't droll. Why? I guess because of Max C, we didn't want to further cook. So Max C stopping us from making more plays. And that's correct to do against Runick because they don't have a battle phase. They can't lethal you next turn. They could set up a strong board though. You have Cricket plus the Sacred Tree, tributing the Cricket to then summon the opposite type, insect into plant. We are then sending a tree from the deck to the graveyard, activating to grab a Blessing, which could reborn a monster from the graveyard. Shokan into the Tri-Edge Master, which is kind of like a Coral Dragon and a Stardust Charge Warrior. It's a better Stardust Charge Warrior. Making the Gary to then trigger the Fountain to draw a card, as we now make a Chaos Angel. The Chaos Angel giving full protection. Yep, dark and light. Our monsters can't be destroyed by battle. Our monsters are unaffected from monster effects. On summon, banish a card in the field. But again, we don't have a battle phase, so don't get too excited. We're not winning this turn. Get rid of the Benki. Rid of Benki is a little bit questionable. It does have the ability to search, but also with Benki on the field, you can't use Wakashi to summon itself on the field and play another Benki from the deck. So if they had a Wakashi in their hand here, that would not be a good play. DD Crow, end phase banishing the Cricket before it triggers its effect to reborn from the graveyard. Okay, if your opponent summons a monster from the extra deck, it then does summon. Piercer equipping, which is what we would have done earlier on the previous turn if it weren't for the Max C holding us back. We're going to be reborning our Camellia. Camellia will then send a card from the deck to the graveyard, which will be our Sunflower. By summoning a monster, that will trigger the Camellia to reborn the Sunflower, which could negate the Scarecrow. Do get ready for that. And it's going to have double negate. Now, the out to the Sunflower is destroy it by battle. But it can't be destroyed by battle because of the Chaos Angel. So we have double negate and destroy on top of that negate. This tiny little Sunflower is destroying on top of negating and doing it twice. What do? How do we stop it? We can't. And we got drolled. Holy moly, Naturia is clapping Super Heavy Samurai right now. As we said, the Benki play here would not have worked had we left the Benki on the fields. We're scooping it up. Knowing that the Sunflower is ready to double negate, Sunflower negates monster effect. The Wakashi activating as a pendulum scale is not a monster effect, so that was not a valid negate. And just like that, we're going into game number 2. That's our combo starter, which will play right into the Droll and Lockbird, stopping us from further adding cards. Yep, gotcha. And we can't Gamma it because we don't have a Gamma and we have a body on the field. We are still going to be special summoning a Scales, reborn from the graveyard, going into Bagooska, right? Bagooska it up. Plan B. If you get Max Seed or Droll, just go into Bagooska. Any monster that's not a Link will be negated as it's forced into defense and is negated while activated in defense. Hug in, cannot search for a field spell, could still activate, but the Bagooska is negated, so it actually can. So if it were not negated, it would have still been able to activate, but not search the field spell. We are Runick tipping into the Curses, which will be our monster negate. We have Destruction, which could pop a back row, which could do well against the Scales. They activate Wakashi, Chain Destruction, pop it. That's something. MST is actually good against Super Heavy Samurai. Tipping into the Flash Fire, so we have pop, negate, pop. Let's go. DD Crow is going to be stopping the tip from being returned back to the deck, and thus we don't draw one. Wait, we targeted more than one card. It looked differently to me here. Yeah, okay, so we draw one, but not the tipping return, so we don't draw two. Bagooska detaching. We have Motor Bike. The Piercer doesn't activate because it has to be sent from the field to the grave, not as a material. No longer negating with the Bagooska. Now it's untargetable. It can't be destroyed by the Flash Fire or negated by the Curses because while in attack position, it does become untargetable. Piercer searching into the booster, which could special summon itself onto the field. Flash Fire on the Scarecrow. I think it's better to wait for it to activate. It discards to summon where it's pointing to, and then you chain destroy it. Or if they equip a card, then you could just chain destroy it right then and there. You could wait for them to activate the back row card, then chain destroy it. Hug and return back in the extra deck. Yeah, why not wait? Exactly, I'm saying wait. And we have that Zeus, which the Curses will be negating. It's only a 2-material Zeus. To get a 4-material Zeus, you do the Champion Sargass line. You make the Springen rank 4 Xyz, and then you apply the Sargass on top of it. Search for Therion, which is not you detaching, and then you have a 4-material Zeus. Zeus activating to attach a destroyed card or a card from the deck or action deck after a card was destroyed. Let's get to it. Golden Drop. Let's going to be special summoning a Runick here. Can't discard because there's no field spell to be searching, but triggering the field spell to return 3, draw 3. I have a feeling that Runick wins. What happened to your Naturia cards? I thought you were a Naturia deck. This is just Runick. In the draw flays, we are flazing it up, triggering our field spell to draw 2 into hopefully some disruption. Draw 3, that is. We have Max C now. Using the Blessing to summon from the hand or the grave. Using our Ghost Mourner to negate on summon. Very well done. I don't think so. So Ghost Mourner, they summon, you then get negating. We're going to use Blessing to activate again, special summon a Cricket. Cricket's going to be summoning 2 bodies from the deck, which will be the Sunflower to double monster negate. That's going to be something that we have to destroy by battle to stop it from negating. Banky not being a monster effect can safely search for the Soul Horns. Droll and Lockbird could stop you from further adding. To battle we go. Slumber onto the Zeus so it can no longer attack. We have 19 cards banished. A one of Therion is gone. Our one of Scythe is gone. How many other cards are gone? All 3 wagons are gone. Making our Tri-Edge Master. On summon, draw a card here. Baron Deflor is going to be able to pop a card in the field plus negate anything. This is just too much. Too much. Most of our deck is now banished, and they're just gaining unlimited advantage. Holy moly. TTK unfortunately surrendering to Runick with some Naturia. Unicorn is here. Theosis is... We're not going... Okay, so what's cool about... This is a good thing that you want to learn here. You have Maxi and you have Droll and Lockbird. You want to activate your Maxi when you could Droll, because if they have Called By or Ash to negate the Maxi, you then could chain Droll and Lockbird to their negate. So by using it in that activation window, you get the benefit of both. And the best case scenario is they don't negate Maxi and you're like, okay, fine, I won't Droll and we're good. Chain it, as we said. And what's funnier here is if we then follow up Called By onto Droll, you could chain Droll to Called By, which will resolve correctly and it will not be negated. Double Droll, double activate. All right, nicely done. Unicorn being triggered, look at the extra deck. Do we have just one Mirror Jade? Probably not. We have double Mirror Jade, we're good. We got the Kashtira, Tearlament, Milling a Hovness. We're not activating the fuse with it. Making our Shang-Ri. Shang-Ri during the standby phase will be summoning a Fenrir. By normal summoning the Mudora, we got that quick effect to spin cards from the opponent's graveyard back in the deck, even our own. So do get ready for that. We also have Super Poly to discard Triva Karma, which could grab the Tearlament field spell. Right now, we're attempting to summon Magnahut, which we could stop by returning our own Hovness back in the deck, but then we lose the Mudora ability to spin an Albaz in the graveyard back in the deck in response to a branded fusion, which we can't do anyway because there's a branded loss, but we don't know that they have that. I guess we do. All right. We're probably not going to Mudora anyway in response to the branded fusion due to them having a loss, which we should know that they have, so we're just going to Mudora early, stopping the summon of the Magnahut. Come forth Unicorn. Unicorn instead of Fenrir. Was that a choice? Or we didn't have Fenrir? That was a choice. All right. Now, Unicorn is just not going to be triggering anyway due to the branded lost. So by making sure to put the Albion on Chain Link 1, the Unicorn cannot respond on resolution of the Albion performing its fusion summon. Shokan into Lubellion. So this is when it would activate, but it can't. You would rip out the second Mirror Jade, but because we correctly chain linked, it does miss the timing, the branded loss protection. Just put your fusion summons on Chain Link 1. Lubellion again, Chain Link 1, into Mirror Jade. And we are not able to use Unicorn whatsoever. This is not an activated effect, so Unicorn still can't activate. And let's get battling, just like that. Unicorn was waiting to activate at any moment to just banish a card from the extra deck and just was not able to. The prompt never came up to activate. We are going to be using Super Polymerization, fusing before they could activate the branded beast, making our very own Moo Dragon. Okay. Mirror Jade with the non-target banish, getting rid of the Shang-Ri, which does have destruction protection. Titanclad summoning from the deck our Quem, as we already activated the effect of Quem to send a card from the deck to the grave, so it did not activate again. So what do we have here? Triva Karma could search for the Tearlament field spell. Very well done. Tearlament field spell, not only searching for a Tearlament, so we're going to call Dark, so our Dark monsters cannot be targeted as long as Moo Dragon's on the field. Tearlament field spell could pop a card on the... Wait, we're calling Dark, but then summoning a Water. Maybe we should wait for the Rhino Heart to send, resolve, activate, then go into Dark. But this is okay. Send Sharon, activate, then we could chain Moo Dragon. But we are getting stopped on that fusion. The Sharon's getting banished by the Magnahut, which... Public knowledge, we knew that the Magnahut was there because we stopped it with Mudora. Huh. Magnahut activating, but we're making plan B into untargetable Baguska. All right. Can't be targeted, but banishment does not target if it tries to fuse with it. Can we fuse with it? I don't think so. The Sprint, if we had that, we're going to be fusing the Albion and our Quem, making a Masquerade. So now you have nothing to battle into to make Zeus. Your Zeus play's gone. Grab that Mercurial, which will be our monster to game. Gotcha. The Branded Beast would not be able to pop it. It's untargetable, can't battle into anything. Very well done. Sometimes it's not about dealing with the card, just make it so they have nothing to battle into. Very nice, very nice. Rhino, and there was at least one news message in Master Duel where it said, thank you for playing Duel Links. If you don't believe that their teams are crossed over. We have Tearlament, Grief, summoning from the deck our Havnus and then send it to the graveyard, triggering its fusion summon effect to get fusing into Kick Cow. Did Tearlament become a better deck post-Banlist with Serenir being limited to 1? It's worth stating that every single Bestial, I think besides the Baldrake, is limited to 1. Is Baldrake limited? Let me see that real quick. Let's bring up the list of Bestials here. Maybe it's now time to whip out our cards. Everything but Baldrake is limited to 1. Serenir, Druisaur, Mekknight. So stopping the fusion summons are much less likely. Yeah, this is the time. Sending the Tearlament Kashtira, which will allow us to do the mill 10 combo. We mill 2 initially, then we reborn it to mill 5, then 3, plus the 2 we sent earlier. It mills more than Merly, but Merly is a fusion trigger where the Tearlament Kashtira is not. We have negate a special summon, negate a monster effect, banish a card on the field. Every card sent to the grave is banished instead. Begin. And the Super Poly's not going to be usable here because there's water and dark. If there are 2 darks, it would have been good, or 2 waters. So we're protected. Maxi's not using. Wait, what the heck are we summoning? A fusion plus a dark is Dragostapelia. Oh my gosh. Someone needs to create like a Super Poly quiz to like really get good at that. A timed quiz where there's 2 monsters on the field and you got to quickly answer what fusion could be made. Hey, Dragostapelia. So Tragedy, this is a weird ruling. Only if Tragedy is sent to the grave or banished by card effect does it activate. But we discarded it by cost, but the cost of discarding it banished it by the effect of a Rise Heart, thus being banished by the effect of a Rise Heart, but by the cost of Super Poly, it activates its effect that only activates when banished by effect. Yeah, makes sense. Rukalis being sent to the graveyard by card effect will be reborning itself. We're also activating our own Maxi. Come forth and reborn. Now, it's good about the birth for the branded players that it's not going to activate unless they control a Kashtira. So banishing 3 from the grave, not going to be a big deal here, as it's not going to even happen. We're going to force out the Dragostapelia. Dragostapelia is going to be flipped face down here. Even if Dragostapelia activates to put a counter on Rukalis, the counter does nothing. The counter only has an effect if the Dragostapelia is face up on the field. We're also triggering the Theosis when banished to grab Unicorn back to our hand. So Dragostapelia will be negating the snow so that it just stays up on the field and is able to attack. The correct negate here, you don't do it on the Rukalis, as I stated earlier. And we now have Branded High Spirits. Ooh, not saving Ash for Branded Fusion. We're feeling confident with our Ash, negating the High Spirits instead. And it worked out. Okay. Setting up the Branded Beast, which is completely dead with less Serenirs, less use with this drawn and dead card. We just have the Dragostapelia, which is going to be destroyed by the Rukalis at a whopping 3,000 attack. Now we're going to use the Birth to reborn our Tearlament Kashtira to then mill 3 cards off the top of our deck, additionally summoning our Unicorn to then Shokan into our Shangri. Shangri will be summoning a Fenrir from the deck. I believe we have one in the deck still. Yup, Fenrir, limited to 1, is still here. You activated the effect of a spell to add back the Branded High Spirits. Thus, we banished 3 of your cards in the graveyard face down. Also triggering the Shangri to lock up a zone. Shangri, Fenrir, after a monster activation, we're going to be banishing The Rukalos can negate the Albaz, and the Celia can also negate the Albaz from fusing with our fields. Discard, fuse, Rukalos, negate. Now, Rukalos sends itself to the graveyard to negate, but then Rukalos reborns from the graveyard if it was fusion summoned, and it's not. It was summoned from the grave already, so it's gone. It's not coming back. Goodbye. Then we have our other Branded in High Spirits, which will possibly send the Quem to the graveyard to search our deck for an Albion Shrouded Dragon, which could send a card from the deck to the grave to then draw a card. Triggering the Birth, banishing 3 cards in the grave face down. Goodbye to Albaz. We have just 1 Albaz banished face down so far. We have Retribution in the grave ready to add a Branded Fusion back to our hand, but can we just say that Serenir being limited to 1 is having an impact on this duel in a way? Because Serenir would be helping. Birth, Reborn the Unicorn, and less Serenir is also not able to stop the Tearlament fusions. Damn. Tearlament and the Fairy Tale Snow with less Bystials is back in business. Cartesia, activating the fuse, Chain, Hovness, mill 3 off the top of our deck, and Special Summon. Sending nothing that's going to be too relevant here. We now have our Gangrenol. Gameplay's already out, I know, but you see how hard it is for me to find the gameplay? What do I type for the gameplay? Setting Branded Fusion. We're now going to be setting our Branded Fusion onto the field, making it activatable right then and there just to get ashed. Give me a search term and I'll look up the game. I can't find gameplay. We are negated. The effect is negated, so we are not able to add it back, then activate it again. We got Super Poly ready to get Fusion Summoning with either side of the field. Banishing a Unicorn off the top of our deck. We have lost a Quem, which a lot of people are playing at 1. I think most are playing at 2, though. Fenrir grabbing our Tearlament Kashtira. We have Heartbeat, which is going to attempt to spin the Super Poly back into the deck. We're activating that Super Poly right here, right now, fusing into Dragostapelia. Now, there's a ruling here that was an issue in the TCG in a tournament. The player was mostly using Heartbeat, I believe, for the effect to discard a card to trigger an effect, and the opponent flipped up the back row card. Thus, the card does not shuffle back in the deck. Thus, you don't get to discard a card, but they discarded anyway, and the judges didn't catch it. No one really caught it, and I think that caused potentially an irreparable game state. I don't know what happened with that duel after that, but do understand that, all right? Come forth and summon, banishing the Theosis. Theosis, add a banished card back. We're going to mill 3 cards off of either player's deck, probably our own, not the opponent's. Triggering the Gangrenol to summon from the deck or extra deck, and we are chaining our Max C. Dragostapelia is going to be preemptively negating the Fenrir here. So if Fenrir wants to activate, it will be negated as long as the Dragostapelia is face up. There's the second copy of Quem that we were talking about, as the first copy is banished. Quem send from the deck to the grave in Albaz by moving a card out of the extra deck that will trigger the Quem to reborn the Albaz to fuse with the Big Eye to make a Mirror Jade. Let's freaking go. Gotcha. Oh my God, but we're under Max C. Again, Max C on your own turn against Branded. I'm wondering if that's better to just hold Max C if you only have 1 against Branded and just wait for your own turn. Yeah, Fusion Summoning. Tons of cards drawn off of that Max C. We have the Branded High Spirits being triggered in the end phase to come back. Also our Cartesia. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out of here. Tearlament, despite becoming better due to less Bystials being used, still losing to Branded. Vermelio. I've gotten to a point where I thought I liked card games, but it's more and more becoming a reality that I don't actually like card games. I just like Yu-Gi-Oh! Hold T, discard Special Summon, trigger the Sarah, summon from the deck, Diane, reset our discarded Trap Hole Nightmare. We also got our Floodgate Trap Hole. And let's exceed this up into Rafflesia. Rafflesia will be triggered off of, let's say, a normal summon or activating a card from the hand. That's generally the trigger windows here. We have Floodgate Trap Hole, flipping down the Stealth, which was a special summon. triggering the Sarah to summon a Diane. Diane reset our Floodgate Trap Hole, which is not going to be activatable. Triggering to then set our Hole T, which will be activatable, but is not a disruption. So how do we use the Trap Hole Nightmare? When a monster that was special summoned activates its effect, negate and destroy. That's something, that's big. Raffleja is gonna be negating a card effect in the graveyard or in the hand through the effect. I think it's the Gravedigger Trap Hole, yep. Gravedigger Trap Hole, negate and burn for 2,000. Scarecrow, discard our dead driver. DD Crow on the Soul Piercer, that is a great play. Holding on to the Trap Hole Nightmare, okay. Yeah, damn, Traptrix in the top 16, that's what I'm talking about. We motorbike and searching for our Peacemaker here. We have no hand trap whatsoever, so let's just speed this up. Negate, 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 3 monster effects. Once per chain, Regulus, Borreload, and Baron are negate anything. So a single Darkler No More completely shuts them down. But thankfully, Darkler No More is not so popular and as good against other decks, which is why you're not going to really see it as much. I think if we allowed side deck in our tournaments, that Super Heavy Samurai would just get decimated. But I do want the tournaments to be more similar to a Duelist Cup meta and or, you know, the Master Rank meta. Let's go, let's go. Pudika on summon is going to get negated and destroyed by Baron DeFleur. The Arachnocampa is going to be chain summoning itself as the Apollo USA will be negating. Now Therion, Borreload, and Apollo do not destroy on their negate. Only Baron DeFleur destroys. So we carefully wanted to activate that on the right card to destroy, stopping Sarah from being summoned. So we stopped the Link 1, and we got the Sarah Toby randomly popping a back row, going for the other back row card, and just like that, lethal damage, taking this into game number 3. Finish him. All right. Let's go, let's go. If even maybe the call by goes to 1 even, maybe. That would be comparable to what TCG did. TCG did do that. But it's like a Band-Aid fix. I don't think that's enough. I don't know. Master Rule 6 is the only way. Maxi chain to the whole T. Maybe Master Rule 6 could also change the ruling on pendulum scales being affected by anti-spell fragrance in some way. I don't know how they would have to reword that like it's no longer a spell activation, it's a pendulum. It's just a different card type. Is that really needed? Is that a big deal? Maybe you could put your pendulum scales anywhere so that the Arise Heart can't lock you out, right? So you could just put a scale here and here. As long as you have 2 pendulum scales on the field, they work, no matter where they are. I don't know if that'd even be a good ruling. I'm not trying to help out pendulum, but maybe that's something we would just toss in with a new master rule. We got Wakashi, set this up, come forth and summon, triggering the effect of Raffleja to flip that card face down. With, what does that stop? It stops you from equipping a Soul Piercer. It stops you from searching for a Soul Piercer with Benki. Benki now can't search for a Piercer to normal summon. That is immensely disruptive, that Floodgate Trap Hole. Very well done. And, you know, yeah, we could just equip it onto the monster we summon instead. So, you know, it's actually, I take that back. It wasn't that big of a deal. Looks like we're just doing exactly what we would have done anyway. This is pretty much the same thing. But this is confusing. We're locked into Super Heavy Samurai only. That's it. No more Baron DeFleur, no Sprite Elf, no Excel, Synchro, no Zeus. Super Heavy Sam only. Into the Saratobi we go. Piercer activating to search, double Piercer searching. We have the effect to pop a back row card. Wakashi setting up into the back row. Now the restriction is just our action deck, right? Cannot summon, you can't special summon even non-Super Heavy Sam from the hand. So Tunneler can't be special summoned now. Box can't be special summoned. DD Crow into the Murmelio, attempting to be special summoned to pop a scale before a pendulum summon here. Okay, not gonna happen. Imperm, negate the scale and the Saratobi, just mostly to trigger the Sarah though. Sarah wants to summon the Myrmelio to pop a scale. We do not want a pendulum summon. We're desperately trying to stop it. Wait, that's not desperately stopping it. Saratobi is negated by the impermanence, but we could still use the Trap Hole Nightmare. When a monster act, negate the effect, and if you do, destroy that card. So can you negate an effect that's already negated? No. So the Trap Hole Nightmare actually is completely whiffed. It's not even destroying. We just, I don't know, we got tricked? Huh? Wait, it's still negated and already negated? I guess the card's negated, the effect's not negated. So that is a difference. Interesting. The card's negated, but we could still negate the effect of a card that's negated and destroy. Okay. Yeah, it's negating the effect, not the card itself. Okay. Good to know that. Get Pendulum Summoning. Is that a judge call? I don't know. It's like, yeah, if skill drain's face up, you can't imperm, but like skill drain's already negating the card and imperm's trying to negate the card. Yeah. I don't know if there's any other example where that would be applied to. Trying to think of any other ruling example where that's a big deal. Where a card's already negated, they activate, then you negate, and you still negate and destroy. We got the Masuwaru, that is. This is very likely going to have the ability to double attack. Remember, we're locked into Super Heavy Samurai plays only. We're pure Super Heavy Samurai, reborning the Saratobi, no longer negated, pop the back row, equip onto the Masuwaru. We got double attack, and it's piercing battle damage. Now, the Raffle just states that Traptrix monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. So Sarah's going to get double penetrated by the Masuwaru, and the Saratobi is going to be hopping in too. Bro, what? Don't you have game? Like attack, attack, attack? Do you still have game? Do we still have game? Did we miss lethal? Oh my gosh, I think we missed lethal, right? Lethal? He can't attack. Did I miss that part? Am I wrong? Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Oh, wait. No, it doesn't. What says it can't be attacked? Sarah can't be attacked when an Exceed is on the field? Does she say that? Then why not, would attacking over Pudica a bunch of times that have been game? Where does Sarah say that? It can be attacked. It can. And it can't be destroyed by battle. Right? Can't be destroyed by battle. So miss lethal, but that's okay. All right. Evenly matched. Oh no. So what's really cool about this is the Masuwaru is now going to, what are you doing? You're not destroying the evenly matched, right? Chill, you'll banish everything. Masuwaru is now gonna draw 3. So it's really, if you're wondering, Train versus Masuwaru, Train is better for one-turn killing. Masuwaru is better for the grind game, as we're gonna draw 3 cards now. Pop in the Piercer to activate with the Masuwaru. So we actually have to put the chain links correctly here. We have to put the Piercer on chain link 1, Masuwaru on chain link 2, draw 3, then search with Piercer. Let's go. Oops. No, that's correct. That is correct. That's correct. Piercer on 1, Masuwaru on 2, draw 3. Ooh, look at that. Boom. Wow. 4 cards in the hand. What the hell? Come forth, Pudica. Pudica is going to be banishing you, which we probably had to do. I don't think there was no way to do that. How could we have even done anything about that? That's just unfortunate. Sarah being triggered to set up a bottomless trap hole, ready to banish any monster that is summoned with 1500 or more attack. This card used to be so good, it was semi-limited. Everyone played this card. Pudica effect allowing you to resummon the Masuwaru, banish and destroy, triggering the Sarah. We chose to not activate it. Maybe we don't want to play into a Gamma, right? It makes sense. We don't want to get Gamma'd. We got the wagon into the Scarecrow. Using the whole T. Whole T triggering the Sarah to summon from the deck Pudica. Pudica banished the Scarecrow. That was the correct usage of that. But then we played into Gamma anyway. That's fine. Okay, no, we wanted to save Sarah. So it wasn't around Gamma. It was just timing the Pudica to banish. There you go. Benki doing nothing because you need a Super Heavy Samurai on the field to activate to search your deck for a Super Heavy Samurai. Traptrix is going to win if we don't summon 5 times. Pudika keeps resummoning the Masuwaru. Couldn't Rafflesia negate the Nibiru? Summon 1. Valor is going to negate. Gravedigger Trap Hole, burn for 2,000 damage and negate the effect Valor as we're activating to special summon a plant from the grave. Summon number 2, Pudika, we have 5,500 damage on the field, not lethal. Sarah double activating, summon from the deck. Masuwaru is going to be drawing into a hand trap here, possibly. So we're about to go into our 3rd summon. Diane, on summon doesn't reborn from the grave. It's going to add a trap from the grave. Summon number 4. You have to stop. You have to stop here. That's it. 8,700 damage. Traptrix advancing to the top 8, knocking out Super Heavy Samurai. Damn. Ain't no way. The Masuwaru draw 3 after evenly. I thought that you were done after that there was no way to come back. We have Cosmic Cyclone for that Fog Blade, which will be able to negate a monster in the field, but no more. And due to it being banished, it can't even banish itself from the graveyard to summon a Phantom Knight. We have Maxi battling into the Anaconda, just big enough to suicide. Now, with just a Ghost Ogre in the hand, what do? It doesn't negate. It destroys a monster effect on the field, but if there's a continuous spell or trap on the field that activates, it then kind of acts like a negate as it destroys it, which will be the Fateful Adventure, I think, if we were to have sent a Water Enchantress. We're going to use the Ghost Ogre onto the Cherubini, sending from the deck to the grave a Phantom Knight Ragged Gloves. So goodbye to our Link 2 there. Gloves will then send a Phantom Knight Wing from the deck to the graveyard. By banishing, it triggers the scale to reborn itself from the grave. We have the Wing banishing to reborn a Boots from the grave. As we now exceed the scale and Boots into the Levy Air to reborn a banished monster, which will be our Cloak. Normal summoning our Take Tomborg, and that was actually a special summon, right? Because Levy Air is a wind, we could special summon the Take Tomborg, and there you go. It's not a complete brick if you open up with it. That was good to see. As we now have Dark and Malicious linking this off into the Link 3 Rusty. Rusty will be setting up a Fog Blade, sending a scale from the deck to the grave. We now have that monster negate. We were not able to set up lethal, but 3,900 damage here, sure. Now, Plu's got nothing besides a World Legacy World Armor, drawing into a Droll Knockbird, normal summoning the Droll Knockbird, swinging into the Rusty, self-inflicting 2,100 damage here. What are we trying to accomplish? Why not just surrender? You're allowed to surrender as long as you're not in the grand finale. All right. Good job. Plu got unlucky. That is unfortunate. Yeah. Very good card. Terror Top is now at 3 in Master Duel, searching for the Take Tomborg, making an instant Cherubini or a rank 3 exceed. So if we were to activate the Ogre, Griffin negates, we then use Fateful Adventure to search the Griffin back. Can't summon it again, but during the opponent's turn, we then special summon it. So we're gonna hold on to the Ogre. Not good. So it's like, what the heck? Why didn't you just go into Anaconda? By properly summoning a Break Sword and having a Phantom Knight trap in the graveyard, we could reborn it to where the Rusty's pointing to whenever we want, triggering the Rusty to pop a card on the field. So that is extra disruption. Anaconda going into the DPE, non-target destroy. And we're still not done. We're searching for another monster negate. We'll talk about the public disruptions here. Was this, yeah, okay, both Fog Blades are publicly searched, so we have negate a monster, pop a card, negate a card, and then we have Maxi and Droplet on top of that. About 7 disruptions we have to play through. We don't have a trap in the graveyard right now to use the Rusty play, but DPE could pop it after it negates. So 7 disruptions, 6 cards in the hand, the math does not add up. Max C it up. Well, Max C's not really a disruption. So we have 6 disruption plus Max C. Moving the Indigo over to then normal summon our Droll into an Almirage. Okay. Purple Nightfall being special summoned here, all under Max C. We now have Thrust, thrusting a triple tactics talent into our hand, not negating with the Griffin Rider. Purple Knight is going to attempt to banish itself to then search for a Mekknight. We're going to be using one of our 6 disruptions to negate. We have 5 left. What do we do now? With 5 disruptions, we're making a Dingirsu with the non-target send a card in the field to the graveyard. And we're using our second Fog Blade. So now we just have 4 more disruptions. We have pop, negate, negate, and pop. 2 pop, 2 negate. Blue Sky is here attempting to search our deck as we're going to use another negate as the Droplet sends the Fog Blade to negate the Blue Sky from searching the deck. We have pop, pop, and negate. 2 pop, 1 negate. Triple Tactics Talent Mate. Negate the ability to take control. Oh my Jesus! Ghost Ogre stops the Griffin Rider from negating the Triple Tactics Talent Take Control of a monster. So with negate and 2 pops left, our 1 negate is being stopped by Ghost Ogre because it has to return itself back into the deck in order to negate, and it's not going to be able to do so. So at this very moment, we just have pop 2 cards, with the Triple Tactics Talent very likely taking control of the DPE. Thus, we're only going to have pop 1 card. Oh my, and this is all under the Max C. DPE activating preemptively, popping before it gets taken control of. Almirage is going to protect the Dingirsu from being popped, even though, yeah, it is negated, so it would have been popped. Popping itself, plus the Blue Sky. And now, through all of that disruption, we just have pop a card in the field through Rusty. Well, we actually have nothing now. We have... The Rusty has been taken control of. We now can't summon the Break Sword to where it's pointing to then pop a card in the field. We have nothing. Besides, we drew 4 from Max C, so it doesn't even matter that we broke the field. This is what I was talking about. The, Max C benefiting the turn 1 player here, as we saw, drawing 4. Even though we were able to break the field, we weren't rewarded with, having a back and forth grind game at least. We still lose because of Max C. And, that's why I would not want Call by the Grave to go at 3, because does it look like Mobile X needed even more help with potentially stopping an opposing Max C? You could argue that Plu would have then had a higher chance to have their own Call by the Grave, but they had so many negates to attempt to possibly even negate it anyway. Max C, Maxian. 2-0 victory. Auto P digging 6 cards deep. I think that's a pretty good Ash. I mean, you're thinking that 6 cards deep, it should reliably get them a really good card. So it's like, why not just Ash? Limited to 1 Fenrir, just like that, grabbing our Rise Heart, holding on to our Ash. We refuse to use it, activating the Max C. We're going to be drawn per special summon here now, as we now summon our Raisin. And then, do we even link off under Max C? Now we held the Ash for the Raisin. No search for you. All right, very nice. Do we continue to play under the Max C? We choose to not do so. And the Stake Your Soul, returning the monster back to the hand, making the Max C even more devastating. We have our own Kashtira plays, as we now know it's safe to use that Max C early before the special summon of the Fenrir. But for us, we have Called by the Grave, turning off your Max C. Now, it makes Called By a little bit more balanced, as it's also turning off your own Max C that you would have for your opponent next turn. Grab to us our Fenrir. Our Fenrir is bigger than yours thanks to our field spell, slightly but boosting it up. Why not banish it, though? You activate to banish, and then, what would stop that? What would be like, oh crap, I activated, now they're gonna activate theirs and banish mine? Yeah, you should just banish it. Huh. Okay. Back to you. Raisin is here. Come to me. Again, back-to-back Ash. Using Called By on the Maxi instead of the Ash, saving the Ash for another Raisin. That was the better play here. Triggering the Fenrir to target banish the Raisin. We're going to be returning it back to the hand to summon our Caesar. Caesar Valius is here with not enough attributes in the hand to pop a card in the field. So we're going to be revealing our Raisin as summoned from our deck, our Jiaolong. Jiaolong, reveal double fire to search our deck for a Vanquish Soul card. Imperm negate. We don't have a Borger to dodge the impermanence, returning it back to our hand. So we eat it. But because we're not under Max C, we could very easily go into our Vanquish Soul Link. Smack him for 24, link this up into our Rock of the Vanquisher, which could summon a Vanquish Soul from the hand or return one in the graveyard back to our hand. Very well done. Now, we are locked into the main phase for our plays here, so we did not top deck into, even an impermanence would not be good because we have a field spell blocking it. Special summoning our Scareclaw Kashtira. Now we could activate our Rock of the Vanquisher if we want to. We're not going to, as we link this off into a Lightheart. What is this deck? It is Mannadium. You're using the Rock of the Vanquisher in response to the Lightheart, searching for the Scareclaw field spell to search for a right card, special summoning our Raisin in the same column as the Lightheart to then search our deck for a Dark. We could reveal Fire and Dark to destroy the Lightheart. Do we pop it before it special summons, or do we wait for it to special summon in the same column, which it has to do? Ooh, this is spicy. Yup, it has to summon in that column as we now wipe out that column. We're going to be searching for an Arrival, though, to then be able to reborn from the grave at least. Okay, that's pretty cool. So would it have been better to force them to have to normal summon their right card instead of being able to special summon and still search for an Arrival? So that's quite an interesting situation. Could have forced the normal summon so that they could not summon a Meek. We got the right card. Borger is going to be returning the Caesar Valius to come forth and summon, activating to burn for 1,500 damage. We're already going for the burn damage. Triggering the Jiaolong, activating the Caesar Valius to return back to our hand. It looks like we're going to get popping, right? We are summoning our Caesar Valius. We need an Earth monster in the hand, so we're going to reveal Double Fire, grab an Earth, reveal all 3 attributes to then pop with the Caesar, which we did not pop yet. Ooh, should we have popped before they could special summon the ball and make the Trisukta? The ball could have still been normal summoned. When are we popping? We still have the pop, yes? Making the Amatera. Amatera here, searching for the Planet Calarium, which we could pop it on activation. Because the Amatera is considered to be a Vsauce, we could special summon the Lightheart. Waiting for the field spell activation, that is when we are going to non-target, wipe it off the field, stopping the effect from searching for a Mannadium monster. And we still have that normal summon. Could have been Rhymeheart, which could have searched for a ball. We have Vicious Astra Loud. We are going to, on summon, pop a card on the field. That will be a monster, taking out the Caesar Valius. As we now link this up into Anaconda in Mannadium. Huh? I think this is to play around Droll and Lockbird. If they Droll your Mannadium plays, what do? Plan B, instead of making Baguska like Super Heavy Samurai does, you just link off into Anaconda, make a Mirror Jade, all under Droll and Lockbird. You don't care. Very well done. Yup, that's exactly what we're doing. We don't lose to Droll. Mirror Jade with the non-target monster banish. How many cards are we using up in the extra deck for that? It's going to be Anaconda. It's going to be Mirror Jade. And it's going to... Oh, wow. We have double Mirror Jade, Rinbrum, and Albion. We have a lot of branded in our extra deck here. Rock of the Vanquisher adding from the graveyard our Jiaolong as we stake our soul, reveal an Earth to summon an Earth monster from the deck, which will be our Caesar Valius, which will have the non-target pop a card in the field. We have Raisin in the same column as the Mirror Jade to wipe it out by revealing a Fire and Dark. Fire and Dark revealed, wiping out the Mirror Jade, but the Mirror Jade will first activate to banish a monster on the field. We're going to be using the Borger to return back to our hand our Raisin so it does not get banished. But then the Borger could be banished if we want. We're going to go for the Caesar Valius instead, so you do not pop a card in our field. Triggering the effect of the Jiaolong to special summon, reveal Double Fire to search our deck for any Vanquish Soul card, as the Borger, in addition to that, burns for 1,500 damage. Do we grab the Snow Devil to burn for game? Yeah. So during the next turn, we have 2 cards for game. Just one of them have to resolve and we win. With no way to stop it, burn damage for 1,500 with the Borger. Lethal damage. Damn. Nice Verte Bozo. Oh my. Reinhardt going to be negated by the Ash, and we have a branded fusion in our hand. But what do we do here? Do we? A lot of people with the branded fusion were not playing Albion. They were just playing for the Mirror Jade, because the Verte Anaconda would be the extra deck monster itself to then send to the graveyard. So I guess we have if we hard draw the branded fusion, we still have Albion. Sure, let's go. That's kind of wild. But unfortunately, they had to have a DD Crow, which stops this hard-drawn branded fusion play. By banishing the Albass to the graveyard, we kind of get screwed. Be Gone has, don't think we play Lubellion. Yeah, we don't play Lubellion, just the Albion. Damn. We actually had it. We hard drew it, and it wasn't enough. That's insane. And when you activate branded fusion or summon a non-fusion monster from the extra deck, they conflict. You can't do both in the same turn. It's not even for the rest of the turn. It's just no more synchro or linking for the rest of the turn if you do that. We are going to be revealing the Kurikara to then summon from the deck a Raisin, as the Ash will be negating that special summon. Thus, we're just going to have Pantera and a Book of Moon play. Not so good. Pantera still big enough despite the field spell reducing it a little bit. We have the non-target Book of Moon ready. When do we flip them down? Normal summon Droll and Lockbird, popping it with Starfrost. Now, would Book of Moon stop that? Let's read this. Let's investigate. Target. So if this card's in your hand, you can target a monster with a different type and attribute. Destroy that monster. So generally, if it says destroy that target, it would still have to be the attribute and different type. All right. We are going to be flipping down the Vsauce Starfrost on its summon, stopping it from link summoning into the Lightheart to grab another planet field spell, which would have then been able to search for a Reichheart. The activation requirement is the type in different attribute, but because it says destroy that monster, not destroy that target, it's similar to Mass Change. Target one hero you control, send it to the graveyard. So I'm believing that monster and it is similar to each other. And if you Book of Moon the monster that's already targeted for Mass Change, it's still sent to the graveyard. It still summons the Mass Hero. Let's go, let's go. Vicious Astrolabe plus the Albion, not enough for game 65-50. And we have a dead Kurikara, which is requiring the opponent to activate one of their monster effects during our own turn, which Vicious Astrolabe and Albion will not be doing. On the search with the Dr. Mad Love, we are going to be hit with the Droll and Lockbird, but the Rock of the Vanquisher is not going to be adding from the deck. It's going to be adding from the grave our Pantera. Come forth, Pantera, onto the field, but this is not looking too good for us. We can't really do anything with this. We could inflict 400 damage. Deal 400 damage to pass. Actually got clapped. We're going to chain our D shifter to our pot of P. Yeah, the Duel Link Swabaku. Shifter is ensuring that any card sent to the grave is banished instead, but the ball does not care that it's in the grave. It will activate even when banished. Pop the ball while banished, it's summoning. And the field spell, I believe, also summons the banished ball. It doesn't even have to be in the graveyard. Let's go, let's go. But with not having our Vsauce in the graveyard with a Reinhardt and our Reichheart, we can't banish him from the grave to summon our Vicious Astrolabe. We can't Cross Sheep Reborn from the grave. So there are some disruptions here. Also, the Excel Star to Synchro can't Reborn a level 2 tuner from the grave. It's not the biggest issue for the deck, but it just hits it a little bit, as we were able to hit them with an evenly matched, wiping up the Rock of the Vanquisher and Borger off the field. We just have a Soul Dust Devil, which does nothing. Nothing. Zero disruption. Let's see how much we could cook under the shifter. We're going to use Obsidian to pop the Reinhardt, not the ball, searching for the Planet Field Spell. Planet Field Spell is going to be searching for a Vsauce Starfrost, which could pop the ball to summon 2 balls on the field. So 1 pop, 2 balls, Field Spell activate, Meek still activate, even though they're banished. We're still cooking. I'm curious how we're going to end this line. The whole field is just tuners. linking the Starfrost, which is now banished. For the Lightheart, I guess we could still Excel Start a Synchro by not reborning the ball, but using the ball that's already on the field, then using the Dissipator to reborn the banished monster. But is that a good play? Okay, let's see what we do here. I'm curious what we're doing. Pop of the field spell, goodbye to the Dust Devil. We are making Dissipator. Okay. Where do we go from Dissipator? Dissipator reborning the Vsauce Starfrost. I'm thinking Amatera search for the Mannadium reframing could have been good, right? Who's with me on that play? Mannadium reframing to negate anything. You can't? Why can't you do that? Why not? Amatera search for reframing, right? If he plays it though, everyone's playing reframing, right? There's no way he's not playing it. Droll and Lockbird after adding, you can no longer add from the deck. So the Raisin is not going to be able to add, but it's going to use the other effect to wipe the column to take off the Dissipator. Now, what column if you destroy the Raisin by returning your own banished card? So we're going to instead, we're going to be using the effect to negate, not destroy, by returning it back to the hand. And again, what column if it's not on the field? By returning it back to the hand, it will not destroy the Dissipator. So the main use was just to force the activation of the Dissipator, and all's well. Because of the column ruling not affecting the initial activation area, that's why we can't do a cool play with Pantera under Skill Drain to activate to destroy Skill Drain and then return it back to the hand. Unfortunately, the column's no longer affected, but because you activated Dissipator, we could summon our Curry Kara, which will be able to summon the Dissipator during the end phase to our side of the field. Scareclaw Kashtira, banishing from our hand a Scareclaw rival to be summoned before the battle phase. Goodbye to the Scareclaw Kashtira being used just to block our life points, protecting it a little bit. As we now main phase 2, link this up into Rock of the Vanquisher. Rock of the Vanquisher is going to be adding from the graveyard our Raisin back to our hand. We could then, during the next turn, summon that Raisin. As we take control of the Dissipator, we have the ability to negate and or destroy any card effect activation from a monster. So we didn't activate the ball, we just special summon it through its inherent special summon effect. Then make Cross Sheep. Do we summon Raisin? Raisin search for a fire, Raisin then activate to kill the Cross Sheep before we summon the Astrolaud. That's a lot to do. And I think we're doing it. Let's go. So it's very important. It's a small detail. This didn't happen accidentally. We made sure to not block the extra monster zone column. The Dissipator, Kurikara, or the Caesar Valius, if summoned into this column, we would not have this play. Make sure you free up the columns that you want to get destroying in. And just like that, Cross Sheep has been destroyed. Triple Tactics talent, taking control of a monster. Come to me. My Dissipator's back, which I'll be reborning our banished monster, which we're now going to be summoning our Vicious Astrolaud. Are we under Droll? Did we get Drolled? I don't remember. Vicious Astrolaud on summon, wiping out the Divine Incarnate. To battle we go. Not quite lethal. We cannot attack into the Rock of the Vanquisher as long as there is another Vanquished Soul in the field. Linking this up into the Anaconda, don't we give back the Dissipator during the end phase? What are we doing at Dissipator? We're going to send it to the grave, right? No, we're not. We have to give back Dissipator, I think, right? Uh-oh. Huh? Why couldn't we Verte with that? I think we just forgot. Oops. Now, the Rinbrum with the Albaz is Disruption if we have a card in the hand to discard, which we don't. So that's an issue. And I think that's the main reason to play the second copy of the Mirror Jade. I do like that detail. Double Mirror Jade, even though you don't really have a good way to summon both of them besides Mirror Jade, send Rinbrum, Rinbrum reborn Albaz, Albaz now fuse with them into another Mirror Jade. That's great. But not for this scenario because we actually don't have that play. Planet Field Spell into a Fenrir that we cannot special summon. Rock of the Vanquisher, add from the graveyard back to our hand. Our Raisin in the same column as the Mirror Jade, which will activate to wipe out the field during the end phase if the Dissipator does not activate to negate. Yes, we are negating. returning the opponent's banished Stardust Dragon back into their extra deck, but surely we have enough for lethal damage here. Really unfortunate that we forgot about Dissipator having to be returned back to our opponent. Had it not been returned, we're like, damn, we got Dissipator, we got Mirror Jade, we got Double Disruption, we're good. Oh, wait, they take it back. Oh, wow, that is the end of the match. Let's hop into another duel. Let's see if we're going into the top 8. And that is the end of the top 16. I appreciate you for watching as long as you can. We will be advancing to the top 8 and grand finale in the next video. Make sure you show up for that. Let's go.